各位委員，
Members, good morning. Welcome to the meeting of the panel on transport. It's the appointed time. We have a quorum. I call to order the meeting. Agenda item number 1, information papers issued since last meeting. Since the last meeting, the Secretariat has issued 2 information papers to members. They are CB-3248/2025-01. It's a letter from Mr. Stanley LI dated the 21st of February 2025 requesting to discuss the trial implementation of diagonal crossings. The other paper is CB-3358/2025-01. It is a response from the administration to the letter sent by Mr. Stanley LI. They have been set out on the agenda. Please take note. Thank you, members. Agenda item number 2, items for discussion at the next meeting. We have CB-3344/2025-01, the list of outstanding items for discussion, and CB-3344/2025-02, which is the list for follow-up actions. Members, please note the next meeting is scheduled for the 25th of April, Friday, between 8:30 and 10:30. The administration proposed to discuss the following 2 items. 1. MTR fare adjustment for 2025. And 2. Review of the license fee for electric private cars, fixed penalties for traffic offenses, and parking meter charges. Do members have any views on these 2 items? If members agree, we will discuss these 2 items at the next meeting. Agenda item number 3, proposal of the Subcommittee on matters relating to railways to extend the period of its work. Please refer to the paper prepared by the Secretariat, CB-3337/2025. Please note that the work period of the Subcommittee on matters relating to railways under this panel will expire on the 12th of May this year. The Subcommittee wishes to seek our support for an extension of its work period so that it can continue its work until the end of the current session. We'll have to seek approval from the House Committee. The paper of the Subcommittee has been sent to members. It sets out the reasons for the Subcommittee to continue its work in the 2025 session. Do members agree that the Subcommittee continues its work beyond the expiry of its work period on the 12th of May until the end of this session? If yes, we'll make an application to the House Committee. Do members agree? Right. All members agree. Thank you. The Secretariat will make arrangements, and I will make an application to the House Committee. All right. Moving on to the next agenda item. Number 4, operating environment of public light bus trade. Let's invite the administration to join us. Members, please refer to CB-3344/2025-03. It is a paper provided by the administration. Please also refer to CB-3344/2025-04. It is a background brief prepared by the Secretariat. We have with us Ms. Angela Lee, Commissioner for Transport, Mr. Kirk Yip, Deputy Secretary for Transport and Logistics, Mr. Patrick Wong, Assistant Commissioner New Territories from the Transport Department, and Mr. Henry Choi, Principal Assistant Secretary for Transport and Logistics. He is from the Transport and Logistics Bureau. The Commissioner, are you going to walk us through the papers? Right. Members, please press the button if you would like to speak. Commissioner, thank you. Good morning. Today we are going to speak on the operating environment of public light bus trade. We're going to take members through the paper. The government adopts a public transport-based approach. Different modes of public transport services complement each other's strengths and play their respective roles to meet the needs of residents and social and economic development. Public light buses (PLBs) are relatively more flexible in service arrangement. They serve areas with relatively lower passenger demand or where the use of high-capacity transport modes is not suitable. It plays a role of supplementary feeder role. There are a total of 4,350 PLBs, including around 3,400 green minibuses (GMBs), and the remaining being red minibuses (RMBs). GMBs operate scheduled services with routes, fares, vehicle allocation, and timetable subject to the approval by the Transport Department (TD), whereas RMBs are not required to operate on fixed routes or timetable. They can set their own fares. The average daily patronage of PLBs remains stable at around 1.47 million passenger trips per day in 2023 and 2024. Since 2017, the share of PLB in the overall public transport market has remained at about 13% to 14%. The TD has been closely monitoring on the operation of public light buses. The TD implements different support measures in relation to the operation of PLB, apart from allowing PLBs to park at designated spaces. PLBs have been offering more route packages. We have implemented the scheme for RMB routes to be converted to GMB route operations. We also handle the applications from PLB to adjust their fares. We also implement measures to improve the operating environment of the PLB trade. The TD has implemented the labor importation scheme for transport sector PLB code trade. We also work with the Employees Retraining Board to launch the placement-type driving training scheme for PLB drivers. We want to increase the number of employees in this trade in order to provide more services. The details have been set out in the papers. We hope to enhance the operating environment of the PLB trade with these measures in order to ease the manpower supply problem, as well as to continue to liaise with the trade to collect their views, to improve the measures implemented, as well as to prepare new measures to improve the PLB operating environment. The aim is to provide convenient public transport services for the public in Hong Kong. Thank you. All right, I now open the floor for members to ask questions. Let me read out the lineup of the members who are going to speak. We'll start with Mr. Chen Pui Leung, Mr. Frankie Yik, Stanley Li, Michael Tin, Dr. Ben Chen, Mr. Yim Kong, Andrew Lam, Mr. Lok Chung Hong, and Mr. Perry Yu, Deputy Chair. Let's start with Mr. Chen Pui Leung. 4 minutes. Questions and answers included. Thank you, Chairman. The government's policy is to turn red minibuses to green minibuses in the future, and it will be subject to the regulation and control of the administration. As the Commissioner mentioned, the scheme to convert RMB routes to GMB route operations has been launched. The paper mentioned 11 routes in total that have been approved. 2 of these routes have been approved. For the remaining 9 routes, did any operator sign up for the conversion from RMB to GMB? For operators who are not operating a fleet, how is the administration going to deal with this situation? Well, I believe the RMB trade is having difficulties in its operation. For those non-fleet operators, how are you going to help with their transformation? My next question is, if the administration would like to convert RMB routes to GMB routes, in the paper you mentioned a lot of policies which help the RMB in their operation, say to relax the restrictions in relation to pick-up drop-off restricted zones and to help them with smart measures. If the administration is helping the RMB trade to improve their operating environment, will they lack the incentive to convert to the GMB route operations? Will it be at odds with the policy goal of converting RMB routes to GMB routes? Thank you. 3 questions. Commissioner, please. Regarding the scheme to convert RMB to GMB, it was launched in August last year. As the member mentioned, we invited 11 existing RMB routes. We asked the operators to see whether they were interested in converting their routes to GMB without having to be selected. The aim was to expedite the conversion. Regarding the factors at play, different RMB operators joined the $2 scheme. Under the scheme, there is regulation already, which is similar to the GMB, say fixed routes or designated fares. So although they are RMB operations, there is a fixed fare schedule. These 11 routes have been in operation for over 5 years. So the operation is similar to that of the GMB. Hence, an easier conversion from RMB to GMB operations. We consulted the industry. They found it reasonable, and that's why we have selected 11 RMB routes and invited them to be converted into GMB route operations. In the end, 2 routes were approved. One served Sao Paulo, Jordan. The other one serves Yunlong. For the remaining 9 routes, they didn't make an application. We have touched base with the operators of the trade. They think that the RMB trade is more flexible, and they don't consider it an appropriate time to be converted into GMB route operations. They believe the RMB practice is more suited to the needs of their passengers. We'll take stock of the situation and maintain a close dialogue with the industry. We'll consider expanding the scope to cover more routes. We are still working on it, as these meet the policy goal of converting RMB to GMB. Regarding non-fleet minibuses, apart from the scheme I just now mentioned, every year we formulate new GMB routes, which are then up for bidding. The industry will have an opportunity to turn RMB routes to GMB routes. This is applicable to non-fleet minibuses as well. Most RMB routes do come with a route package, and there's a fleet. Hence, they have sufficient minibuses to cater for passenger demand. Regarding incentive, what are the incentives apart from relaxing the requirement in relation to pick-up and drop-off restricted zones? Well, as I mentioned, the RMB trade is more flexible. That's why they choose to stick with the RMB operating mode. We take into account service quality for passengers. Without affecting the situation, we will allow the RMB to use routes that were not allowed. The aim is to provide better quality services to the public. Ultimately, We want to enhance the mobility of the public. We want to provide convenience to them.
Next, Mr. Frankie Yek. Thank you, Chair. I represent the PLB sector. I have quite a lot of questions, so I'm afraid that I might have run out of time. I ask if it is possible, I would like to speak for a second round. In paragraph 4 of the document, the patronage continues to drop. The expansion of railway network also hit PLB hardly, and it is very difficult for them to operate. In paragraph 7, last year, the government has increased an average of 21 new GMB with addition 76 GMBs, and it is rather slow. I wonder if there can be more new routes. As you're aware, Ms. Lee, because we have over 900 RMB, but there are only 700 odds have license. So there are around 200 who are without license. They are still waiting for opportunities. So I hope that there will be some arrangements for them. As for the conversion of RMB to GMB, as asked by Mr. Chen already, as I heard from the sector, among the 11, not everybody has submitted the application, and some have already joined the $2 scheme. They do have the conditions to participate. How about you are not going to be the one to select them? How about you allow them to submit the application and show their willingness? Would it speed up the procedures? Would you consider that? Question 3, about the PLB bus stop. We want to allow them to park at the minibus stop after operation hours. It was available back then, but after that it is cancelled. Now it is being allowed, but they find it tricky because it needs to be consult stand by stand. I don't understand why we need to do consultations, because after operating hours, I don't think it will cause any inconvenience, but it is very slow, because if there is no bus stop stand allowing them to park, they will be sued for illegal parking. So can you just skip the consultation stop by stop? I still have 4 more questions. Okay, I will allow to the administration to respond first. Yes, please be brief so that there will be more Q&A. Thank you. About starting new routes, we will continue to put effort into it. If there are new districts coming up, then surely we will look into the potential patronage. We want to see if they need high capacity or they just need some feeder services to and from different social facilities. If that is the case, then PLB may be a good fit. We can provide a package of bus and minibus to provide a network of services to the residents there. In that case, we will introduce PLB so that there will be multiple options for passengers to choose from for feeder services. As for the numbers, it depends on the progress of the development of each district. Except for the new routes, we will continue to monitor closely to the existing routes to adjust the services, including the adjustment of the routes. Maybe they will stop by more locations so that they will increase patronage as well. In the past 5 years, we also have added over 80 GMBs. So apart from the 76 additional GMB, this is another way for us to support the sector. For the conversion of RMB to GMB, we had our first attempt last year, and it came with special conditions, as Mr. Chen has mentioned. For the next round of scheme, we have taken in your comments. We might relax the restrictions and may take the initiative to approach certain operators. Adding parking space at the minibus stop. We do know that this scheme will support them so that they can take care. Their parking needs can be taken care of during non-operating hours. Under the over 700 minibus stop operated by TD, over half of them have been installed with the parking sign. For the rest of them, we will speed up the procedures and we will be in touch with the district members. Thank you. Next, Mr. Stanley. Thank you, Chair. Personally, I believe that PLB is very unique in serving the citizens of Hong Kong as a whole. As we are talking about the operation of PLB, I think the success of a certain transportation depends on the top-tier design. As TD is well aware of, perhaps there are certain routes that the PLB operators have applied, but it is still yet to approve. Taking my own district as an example, like in Sai Kung in Dongba, at the moment, there are certain PLB who told me that on normal days, they cannot enter into those districts. They have to rely only on taxis. And there are those who charge illegal surcharges to go into that area. As for the hospital, there are certain routes that they have difficulties in getting on the bus. But it seems that the effect is not as effective as we expect. Is there any areas that we can design better so that it will be more smooth in the operation? As mentioned, we have talked about the top-tier design. And there is another side that is the frontline operation. I know that the import of labor is going to support the sector by offering them additional manpower, but sometimes the passengers said that the behavior and attitude of drivers might drive them away. If they have other options, they'd rather opt for some services of higher quality. So what exactly are the issues at frontline? Do we still have insufficient manpower? Although there have been a lot of additional drivers supporting the sector, is it still insufficient? Are there any other factors? Well, we have to monitor and consider from top-tier design to the frontline operation. Nowadays, we always talk about the development of tourism. Just now, I have cited Sai Kung as an example. As stakeholders of the tourism industry and the local economy, we always find Sai Kung as inaccessible. But people regard us as the backyard of Hong Kong. Can we offer people routes to go from Tsim Sha Tsui directly to Sai Kung? Can we open it to PLB because it never existed? I think we have to be more bold to innovate in terms of top-tier design so that we can break from the traditions. Thank you. A number of questions. Ms. Lee, please. Regarding the design of routes, we appreciate your comments. If there is certain tourism demands in those districts, we will surely consider to make use of minibus. In Hong Ling during the Chinese New Year, at peak hours, they do need to add PLB, and they are willing to support that. As for Sai Kung, I would defer it to the Deputy Commissioner. For other routes, like the routes to back and from the hospital, we will look into these routes. If people have difficulties getting on the PLB, perhaps we can deploy more vehicles and add minibus there. If there is any such case in existing routes, please feel free to talk to us. As for imported laborers, from our connection with the industry, we do know that it has offered them great support because they have stable supply of drivers. On the other hand, they are able to offer more stable and more punctual services. The passengers also see the improvement of the services and hence their willingness to take PLB, so it is a win-win situation. When the imported labor come to Hong Kong, they are just newly trained, so they tend to be very polite. We are very strict in our training, so they need to fulfill certain training hours. So I can see that they are driving with a very cautious manner. If you have collected any comments concerning the performance of the drivers, please feel free to talk to us, and we can immediately connect with the operators, because the management of the drivers by the operator is something that we put focus on, and we will follow up. Assistant Commissioner. For the issues of East Dam, actually we are in touch with them. At the weekend, there is a route of 9A going to East Dam, and we discovered that over long weekend there are some mainland tourists looking forward to go to certain areas, and the operators are very willing to add vehicles and to consider if they would add more vehicles even on weekdays. Next, Mr. Michael Tian. Chair, recently I have been in touch with some representative of the GMB, and they are quite reasonable. But I don't really understand why we have ended up this way. The first one, about the licensing fees, it is about 8,400. So as we divide it, on an average, it will be around $500 per passenger. As for the coach, it is 3,000 license fee per year, and it can have 60 passengers. As for the franchise bus, the license is free of charge. So the passengers need not to shoulder any of those costs. But they are all public transportation. Why is it so unfair? It seems to be quite unfair to public light bus. Today we are discussing about the operating environment, or PLB. So I want to understand if the government is willing to reduce the license charge. Well, then, if that is the case, then the license fee of each PLB should be around $1,000. Like franchise bus, we are the European diesel gas in 2013. In order to improve the street level air quality, we have decided that there will be a period of 15 years before they expire. And I have consulted the administration because there is certain mechanism. They have to change the vehicle every 18 years. Back then, the government did not talk about the expiry dates of the franchise bus. So why can't it be aligned? Because it is for the minibus, it is 18 years. So why can't we allow them to aligned in the time period? In June 2023, you have announced about the import labor, and you have allowed for 461 quota, and they cannot work immediately. They need to go through training first. So by the end of this year, the first round of imported drivers have completed their contract. As far as I can understand, the industry is still lacking drivers. If these 400-odd drivers are not going to renew the contract, then there will be a shortage of labor. So if they renew the contract for 2 more years, it seems to be the only way to go. Will you consider the industry to train local talents, because we can't rely on imported drivers forever? Most importantly, when the drivers are aged, they would retire. And we don't see a lot of young people joining the industry, so we have shortage of drivers. So here are my 3 questions. Thank you. Ms. Lee? I would first take the last question. As Mr. Tian has mentioned, there are 2 rounds of approval, and we have allowed for a total of 900 quota for imported drivers. The first batch has been approved by the September of 2023 because they need to have recruitments and apply for permits. So the first batch have arrived by the end of 2025, and the permits will be expired by then. From the perspective of TD, if the first batch of drivers have acquired driving license, and if the employer is satisfied with the services and accumulated experience, it will be good if they can continue to serve in the existing routes. It will support our quality and stability of the service. As we understand, many operators who are hiring imported drivers would like to extend the permit. We will release the arrangement soon. We are aware of the timeline, that is the end of 2025. We have already taken this into consideration. As for local training, we have been in touch with ERB, as well as some third-party training organizations and PLB operators. There are some tripartite cooperation. we have a scheme that will hire them first and offer them training afterwards. The training organization will have matching with the training institute. After training, once they have acquired license, then they can work at the operator immediately, and we even offer them subsidy. Start from March, they have already applying for the driving license. They will start to service by batch.
Regarding the other two questions for diesel vehicles, it is under the purview of the Environment and Ecology Bureau. It is based on the improvement to roadside air quality. There are less than 20% of the vehicles are diesel vehicles. We have taken into account the long-term goal of zero emissions. For bus companies, regarding franchise, we have other measures. Say for the purchase of vehicles, they will have to purchase vehicles with low emission, and we can relate Mr. Makutin's concern to the EEB. Regarding license fees, we understand the PLB license fees are on the high side. We have concerns about public transportation as well as public finance. We will take stock of the situation and identify any room for further adjustments. Thank you. Dr. Ben Chen. Thank you. The PLB trade has been waiting for a long time for this discussion. They've been in active communication with us. When a vehicle is dismantled and is not replaced by another new vehicle, the license will have to be cancelled. There are fewer routes, and there is not a lot of room for operation by public buses. The Northern Metropolis will be commissioned in 2026. There will be quite a lot of new places with population intake, hence more room for operation by public light buses. Will the government consider extending the requirement of 2 years in view of the fact that there is room for development in the Northern Metropolis? Quite many minibuses would like to go electric. And the pace is actually dependent on the availability of power chargers or chargers. So there is, so to speak, a knock-on effect from the dismantling of the vehicle to going electric and the availability of chargers. I can see a vicious cycle. Starting from a particular date, the relevant application won't be accepted. So will you consider extending the period? From the 1st of April, applications won't be accepted. Will you consider putting back the deadline? With technological advances, 19-seater, is it possible to relax the restrictions in relation to 19-seaters? Is it possible to allow the minibuses to have more seats? This will increase or enhance the appeal of public light buses. Will the administration consider providing more seats on minibuses? Regarding the cancellation of registration within beyond 2 years, in another legislative amendment, the purpose of which doesn't have to do with the PLB trade. It is in relation to the other ordinance. For vehicles who haven't been registered for 2 years, Just now, member asked whether we could extend the period for the transport department. We won't cancel the license of the public light bus just after 2 years because we will have to identify the owner of the public light buses. So long as the owner of the public light buses can put forward grounds for keeping licenses, we will allow these applications. We will make announcements in due course. We will also liaise with the industry about the future practice in relation to new energy transport fund. The EEB has taken into account the overall trend and pace of the development of electric cars. The EEB has already stopped accepting new applications. We can relay your concerns to the EEB for their follow-up and consideration. Regarding 19-seaters, they account for about half of a total of 4,000 odd public light buses in Hong Kong. We understand increasing the number of seats will help the public light buses trade to have more passengers. Half of the public light buses haven't yet been converted into 19-seaters. We'll consider the situation in the future. Thank you. Mr. Yim Kong, I have some comments. I'm not looking for a reply. The public light bus trade is facing three main fronts of challenges. One, a decreasing number of passengers. Comparing with 2017, a total of 19% of decrease in relation to the number of passengers. Public light buses saw a drop of 12.5% in relation to its share of the public transportation services in Hong Kong. Despite support measures for the industry, the results aren't obvious, so I make three suggestions. One, we need to help the industry to lower operating costs. We need to reduce the tolls for public light buses. Say for Tai Lam Tunnel, is it possible to further lower the tolls for public light buses? As for new public light bus services, the administration may consider providing more subsidies for fuel. The positioning of PLB is for passengers in lower passenger demand areas. We have a lot of new development areas, NDAs in Hong Kong. In these NDAs, public transportation services still leave much to be desired, and we need to improve the services in these NDAs. We need to improve the operating environment of PLB in relation to digitalization. Quite many routes for PLBs don't have arrival information on Hong Kong e-mobility. Passengers don't know how much longer they will have to wait for the next minibus. I advocate the provision of a platform providing information for passengers of minibuses. The administration needs to work with operators, say for the Northern Metropolis NDAs or for the Hong Kong International Airport. Specific routes should be provided. This will provide more businesses for operators, and this will also help the industry to lower the cost in relation to commuting routes. With multi-pronged approach, I hope we can help the minibus trade or the public light bus trade to improve its operating environment. Commissioner, thank you for your views. Just now we mentioned enhancement measures. We'll look into measures which will help the PLB trade. I'd like to reply to Mr. Yim regarding one point. That is the positioning of I mean the real-time arrival information for PLBs. The global positioning devices are being installed on all green minibuses, providing real-time arrival information on Hong Kong e-mobility. We'll try to ensure the accuracy for all routes. Regarding some new routes from RMB to GMB, we will arrange for the installation of global positioning devices as well. The public will then have the real-time arrival information on these green minibuses. Thank you. Next member, Mr. Andrew Lam. I have two questions. They are in relation to the global positioning devices for green minibuses. They will be installed on all GMBs, and I've also heard from the Commissioner about RMB to GMBs. We need to give full play to the flexibility of RMBs. This will help to develop the mobility on-demand transport mode of operation. Will the administration consider helping the RMB to install global positioning devices in order to develop the mobility on-demand transport mode of operation? Every year, the route training program. Under this program, some bus routes are cancelled. What if these routes are replaced by RMBs or GMBs? What do you make of it? Do you have any overall strategies in this regard? Two questions. Commissioner, please. Thank you. The first question, will we consider installing global positioning devices on RMBs? As we mentioned in the document, through the Smart Transport Fund, an organization has received subsidies to undertake studies. They have started working on a project. There will be a system. Given the fact that RMBs don't have fixed routes, there will be an advanced booking system for passengers. The locations of the passengers will be provided. There is also a tracking function on RMBs. For members of the public, they will save their time of waiting for public-led buses. For operators, because RMBs don't have any fixed routes, when they have the location of pre-booked passengers, they will then identify the best routes to pick up passengers who have already booked a seat for the minibuses. In the long run, their operating efficiency will be improved. Their operating costs will also be reduced as a result. The scheme was started in February this year, and they are working on developing the program. We hope next year some RMB routes can pilot this idea. We'll then take stock of the effect. For the second question, every year for route training program, we do review these programs, and we will take this opportunity to conduct a review. After the pandemic, the commuting patterns of members of the public have changed. Not just PLB patronage, but the patronage of the overall public transportation services has also decreased. That's why we need to make adjustments to the provision of public transportation services. For areas with lower passenger demands, we can adjust the routes or to increase the frequency of minibus trips. We will also consider creating more minibus routes.
咁啊，第一個咧，
Mr. Lok Chong-hong. Thank you, Chair. Back in 2017, when we increased the number of seats to 19 for PLP, the administration promised that they will help them to fight for the cancellation of some unreasonable deposit funds and to increase the resting time. But in practice, I think it is far from ideal. I would like to see if there is any follow-up. Second, about imported labor. There are impacts on the drivers. From the union, we did collect a lot of comments, especially those who are having gray hair already. Actually, they are still very competent as a driver, but some of them are being reallocated to some remote routes. They may be turned from full-time to part-time, and they only have daily wages. Nowadays, we have 650 imported drivers out of the 900 quota. Have you evaluated the actual impact to the salary of the drivers? Is there anyone who is being sacked because of different reasons? Do you have any updated data? As you know, among all public transportation, they have the lowest level of wages among all. It is kicking off a vicious cycle. The government has also arranged for some training scheme for the PLB drivers. However, on the other hand, because of the imported drivers, if the salary level remains low, then it will be difficult for us to attract new blood, and it is quite a pity. From the perspective of the sector, I would like to ask a number of questions. First, about the tolls. The government said that the tolls will be evaluated, and we want it to be aligned with taxi. $25 is a reasonable charge. Or you align it with franchise, but you set up a fund for the toll so that the operator will be able to apply from the fund in order to offset the license fees. Or you have to reduce the toll. Otherwise, if it is very difficult for them to operate, then the citizens will end up having fewer options. Next, about the restrictions of the express highway. Well, we have express highway everywhere. If you do not open it to PLB, and it will be unfair for them to operate under such circumstances. I hope that such restrictions can be relaxed. I hope you can focus on the impact of imported labor. Regarding the import labor, under the imported labor scheme, there is a consultation working group with the presence of both the employers and the employees, and we are also evaluating the impacts before and after the imported labor. As previously shared, during the discussion, both parties believe that such imported labor is beneficial to the sector because the service has improved and the passengers' confidence have increased. It also improved the situation of the shortage of labor. Even after the importation of labor, not all demands are being met. There are still shortage of manpower. Under the labor importation scheme, there are some clear restrictions. The fund spent on the imported labor cannot be lower than the median salary of local drivers. So the operator cannot let go of the local drivers just to import new drivers. On the other hand, they need to support the housings and other needs. They understand that they need to fulfill the service timeline. Therefore, in spite of the additional cost, they still need to import drivers because it will be important for them to maintain overall services. After 2 rounds of labor importation, the majority of them have already been in service. We will evaluate its impact on the overall labor support at this moment in order to determine our future direction. I hope that you can suspend the remaining quota, because what you just said cannot explain why there are still people who are being changed from full-time to part-time, from monthly wages to daily wages. You are still unable to respond to that. There are even people who were laid off. If there are such cases, you will follow up, right? Correct. Actually, it is not restricted to PLB sector as a whole. We all understand that there is a shortage of labor in the public transportation sector. Therefore, different operators, even for the franchise bus, they are deploying different types of employment. Some will even hire part-time drivers in order to attract more drivers to join the industry. But truly, we will monitor the overall impact. Next, Mr. Yu Pak-lan. It is essential for us to discuss about the PLB service. But first, I would like to follow up about the imported drivers. We have to ensure that these drivers can continue to serve us in Hong Kong. Otherwise, if we put so much effort in training them, we end up training another batch of new drivers. It will be undesirable. We are having shortage of drivers for both the coaches as well as the PLB. I think we need to facilitate the restrictions so that we can solve the problem of labor shortage. From the perspective of tourism, we do concerns about the service of PLB because the features of PLB is that it is fast, it is flexible. At some famous tourist spots or the famous hiking routes, we will see numbers of minibus lining up waiting for passengers. Just now you mentioned that you will increase the frequency of services, but under special circumstances, there are still people who are waiting for minibus for a long time. As for the red minibus, they are able to fulfill such gap. So my question is, are you able to offer them even more flexibility? In paragraph 16, I do find a way out for the PLB in the future. That is the on-demand service and the provision of pre-booking services. Well, just now we have talked about the Eastham, Robin's Nest. I discovered that over weekend, during the peak hours, passengers need to wait for a very long time for PLB. They simply can't leave the tourist destination, and we can't organize for people to enter into these areas. It cannot be. These are not some demands that can be fulfilled by GMB. Are there any arrangements that we can make so that the tourists can have better experience here? For Eastham and Ha Pak Night, these kind of popular tourist spots, we see long lines waiting for PLB at weekends. The service of taxis also has its limitations. Hope that the department can look into this matter. It is actually similar to the question of Mr. Stanley Lee. So, Ms. Lee, thank you. First, about the continuation of imported labor. This is something that we understand. We share your views. If they perform well, if the operators want to continue with the contract, we hope that we can continue their employment so that the continuation of services provision will not be disrupted. Second question, how can we make use of the flexibility of PLB in order to serve those popular tourist spots? We do want to see if it is an opportunity to open up more space for the PLB to operate. But we need to carefully consider about different locations. As you understand, the tourist spots are very popular on holidays at weekends. Everybody wants to reach the destinations in the morning and leave in the evening. So we are talking about a very short time frame. Minibus can only take dozens of passengers at each ride. For some preservation zones, the roads are narrower, so are we able to allow the minibus because they are smaller in size? Because the services are less frequent over weekends, so are we able to deploy them to the tourist spots so that we can have some additional service area for them? This is something that we will continue to discuss, and we will also continue to work with the tourism board to see what are the priorities of the locations. Thank you, Mr. Gary Zhang. Thank you, Chair. I would like to follow up the questions of Luk Chung Hong. That is the toll fees for PLB, because we want to offer them a better operating environment. So it is either increasing their revenue or cutting cost. And toll fees is certainly an easy way for us to support them. I would like to see the administration's take on this. The second question is rather macro. In the public transport policies, exactly what is our positions for PLB? Are we expecting them to offer a point-to-point services, or are they just a feeder supplementary to other services? In certain districts, perhaps there are some housing estates in some remote areas, so we will rely on PLB to transport the residents to the nearby NTR station. If they are playing a feeder role to the railway system, can we encourage the MTR to offer some discounts so that the PLB services will be more attractive? As you understand, in the cost structure of PMB, what is the proportion of salary and what is the proportion of fuel charges? What is the structure of their cost and what are the trends? Because we know that their income is rather stable. As the overall demand of public transportation is stable with slight decrease, we want to see what are the trends of the cost structure. Just now, we also mentioned about mobility on demand services. What are the services that we can offer with PLB so that it will be rationalized and be more flexible? Pre-booking is one way, or they can serve different functions at different hours. Can they be served as school bus in the morning, while at the other hours they can serve as a pre-booking PLB? If the limitations can be relaxed, they can have even higher degree of flexibility. Finally, I understand that we have to train new talents, but we still need to closely monitor the major trend. In the future, the public transportation is going to be unmanned and digitalized. Perhaps within 10 years, this will be the trend that we'll witness. Maybe there are certain trades that can serve our needs on short term, but in long run, it may not be in line with your major direction. The first question has already been asked by Mr. Luk Chung Hong, and the remaining 4 questions concerns about cost structure and the positioning of PLB. Ms. Lee, please be brief.
All right, I'll talk about the positioning of public light buses. Just now, as member mentioned, public light buses play the role of supplementary feeder role. We use railway as the backbone of our transport system. Therefore, we adopt the high-capacity transport modes. Public light buses serve the purpose of supplementary feeders For places far away from the public transport interchange, we'd like to provide public light bus services to plug the service gap. For NDAs in new towns, residents need feeder services to connect them from where they live to other community facilities, and we're working on the provision of such feeder services. With NDAs being commissioned soon, apart from railways as the backbone of our transport system or cross-district bus services, we identify room for the provision of new PLB routes. When NDAs are commissioned, we are going to provide services using this approach as well. Regarding tunnel tolls, they've been in discussion for quite a long time. Because of the positioning of public light buses, there are not a lot of cross-harbor public light bus routes. There are close to 20 routes, RMB routes, crossing the harbor. Is there any further room for reducing the tolls? Well, as we have undertaken, time-varying tolls have been implemented for a year. We are taking stock of the situation, such as the vehicle flow across different months. We expect to complete the review in the middle of this year. Then we'll come back to the panel on transport to report the findings. On leveraging technologies, as I said, we'll continue with the survey on RMBs regarding automated driving. I understand that we'll have to keep an eye on the development in this area, so I'm not going to go into details. Thank you, Mrs. Regina Ip. Thank you, Chairman. I use the $2 scheme oftentimes. I'm very much satisfied with the public light bus services in my district. It's indispensable. There are schools in the area where I live. There aren't any skip trips to Exchange Square. It only takes 15 minutes. It is indispensable for residents in my area. For the peak, however, during festivals, say the Chinese New Year, they are packed. And the reason has to do with the payment system. Tourists don't have an Octopus card. They want to pay with WeChat. It takes a long time to sort out the payment arrangements. This resulted in complaints by residents in that area. For touristy areas, apart from Octopus card, will you consider allowing more payment options? Say for the peak. On holidays, we need more police officers to maintain law and order in that area. Commissioner, payment system, yes, indeed. In tourist attractions, if we'd like to introduce more PLB services, we'll have to have regard to payment options. There are a lot of tourists in the area on holidays, so we'll indeed have to look into the situation. Say for crowd control, we'll look into it. Regarding payment systems, we'll pay closer attention to routes with more tourists. We will discuss with operators to see if they are willing to provide payment options except Octopus card. We'll select routes with more tourists. Then we'll discuss with operators to see whether they can do more. Of course, the peak sees more tourists on holidays, but what about the concrete arrangements? When will you implement these measures? Well, indeed, you need to give us some time to discuss with operators the arrangements. They have their own considerations when they need to tweak the system. We'll discuss with the operators. Yes, you need to provide assistance when it comes to helping them to provide more payment options. Well, actually, not just the peak. For other tourist attractions, minibus routes only provide autobus card payment option. Well, really not just a peak. For tourist attractions attracting a lot of mainland tourists have to stand on the minibuses. They couldn't sort out the payment arrangements. And this has exacerbated the transport situation in the area. Regarding the $2 scheme, from this year on, apart from autobus card, other payment options, BTFSS will be covered as well. We are taking this opportunity to discuss with operators. Probably more passengers will opt for this payment system. We may discuss with operators installing this system faster. Well, the Commissioner may consider how to improve the situation. Thank you. Next member, Mr. Chao Siu-chung. Thank you, Chairman. We have an aging working population for public light bus drivers. It's been around for some time. Now we have imported over 1,000 public light bus drivers. They are younger. But at the same time, 1,000 local drivers have been forced to leave their jobs despite their old age. Just now, the Commissioner mentioned the hired and trained scheme. Let's take a look at the recruitment advertisement of the ERB, 8,800 per month and 450 per day. These are the monthly and daily wages. Well, how can we attract someone to be a minibus driver when we offer $8,800 a month? For 450 daily wages, it's not appealing either. This points to the not desirable operating or business environment. The former commissioner and the bureau chief right now said that the positioning of public light buses is clear. Given the clear positioning, can we implement measures to improve the operating environment of the PLB trade? When employers can afford the wages, then they need to hire drivers at a reasonable wage. Even for an ordinary PLB driver, employers are offering $500 or so per day, or $12,000 to $13,000 per month, and this is considered a better level. Comparing with other types of drivers, these amounts are probably half of the wages seen in other sectors. So how can we attract PLB drivers to join the trade? Regarding the rationalization of PLB routes, how will you be able to increase the number of passengers for the PLB trade? There are housing estates in the remote area. You are going to provide more routes, and this is indeed good. For minibus routes in older areas, there is even greater pressure. So what measures do you have to handle this situation? The former commissioner answered my question a year ago. I asked about allowing the same operator to provide more routes. Any progress? Have you seen any headway? Thank you. Regarding the wages of PLB drivers, in the end, we need a stable operating environment of the PLB trade. This will then provide favorable conditions for employers to improve the remuneration packages for PLB drivers. Then we may attract more people to join the PLB driver trade. In our discussion paper, or in our discussion just now, we are adopting a multi-pronged approach to improve the operating environment of the PLB trade. We are working on different fronts, whether relaxing the operation restrictions or allowing PLBs to be parked after operating hours at the minibus stop, or adjusting services having regard to the changes in the commuting patterns of members of the public. We hope to adjust services to, on the one hand, lower the cost, and on the other hand, to have more passengers. In the past 3 years, after service adjustments, we have approved 145 cases in total. After all, we'll tread cautiously and approve the fare adjustment applications expeditiously to ensure a healthy fiscal position for PLB operators. Member mentioned quite many suggestions, and we will study these suggestions seriously. Thank you. Second round. 2 members have pressed a button to request to speak. Mr. Frankie Yik and Mr. Yim Kong. We still have another agenda item to discuss. So in the second round, 3 questions for each member. Questions and answers included. Thank you. Mr. Frankie Yik. I'll be quick. Thank you, Chairman. I thank Mr. Chow for asking this question. It's about paragraph 19. The administration said that they would continue to encourage PLB operators to improve the remuneration packages. All of us want to see an improvement in the packages. 30,000, this will be music to everyone's ears. Applications are approved faster. But then the administration needs to strike a balance. Whether the operators can afford the wages, this is yet another issue. Regarding imported workers, as Mr. Chow mentioned just now, there's a group of silver-haired drivers who are forced to leave their jobs. And this is an unavoidable situation. Many silver-haired drivers want to rejoin the industry. They want to, for example, take up some part-time duties. Well, there's a structural issue. As they are waiting to get public housing, they want to earn less in order to be able to get public housing. That's exactly why we are looking to engage imported workers, as they don't face the same problem. The sector I'm representing has been asking me when the administration will provide the rest to them. Regarding the 900 quotas, the administration undertook a study back then. Owing to shortage in the market, you are simply providing half of it to drivers. What about the remaining half? We are still having a lack of drivers, and it's time we conducted a review of the tunnel tolls for 3 road harbor crossings. I hope you will report the findings to us as soon as possible. The public light buses as well as school buses bear the brunt of this problem, and you should suitably lower the tolls for these 2 types of vehicles. Thank you, Commissioner. Regarding the review of the road harbor crossing diversion, we are collating all the information collected, and we are expecting to come back to the panel in the middle of this year. Regarding quotas of imported workers, we assessed the situation. The PLB trade lacked 2,000 drivers, so we want to address the situation with the imported worker scheme. We need to care about the working population as well. That's exactly why we are implementing some schemes with the Employees Training Board. We want to train local staff members, or local workers, so that we can ease the manpower shortage. Hence, more drivers for the PLB trade will continue to work on this. Regarding the 900 quota, we've heard from members. Continuation is an important factor. More than 70% of the drivers have started working. Some are still being trained. We will assess the manpower situation before mapping out our future directions. Thank you.
議員第二輪
Next, Ms. Im Kong. Second round, 3 minutes. Thank you, Chair. We have GMB and RMB. I think it is because the population is quite diverse and it is a result of the distribution of the population in the early days. Since now Hong Kong is developing in a more holistic manner, would you consider to cancel the differences between RMB and GMB and just to replan the routing of these PLB? Second, there are some hidden safety hazards with PLB. On multiple PLB routes, there are mandatory speed alarm. Will you consider to promote it to all the PLB routes? Thank you, Commissioner. Well, between the GMB and RMB, we maintain the same positions. We want the GMB to operate on a regular schedule. As for the RMB, it will be more flexible because there will be more certainty in terms of the route, schedule, fare, monitoring, as well as the management towards its driver. This is speaking of the GMB. We want to maintain the same policy. As for safety issues, just now you have mentioned about the speed alarm. I think we have made it mandatory for all PLB. It has already covered all PLB. It is since June 2010. Any follow-up questions? No. Thank you very much, members. I can see that we have completed 2 rounds of questions. So this is the end of the discussion about the operation environment of PLB. Thank you, the administrations. We will now move on to the next agenda item. Agenda item number 5, enhancement of public road facilities and beautifications of street landscapes. We would like to invite members of the administration to enter into the meeting room. May I draw your attention to paper provided by the administration, CB bracket 3344 stroke 2025 bracket 05, as well as the background brief by LegCo Secretariat, CB bracket 3344 / 2024 bracket 06. We welcome the administration to the meeting. Today we have Ms. Amy Wong Poon-man, JP, Deputy Secretary for Transport and Logistics, Ms. Jillian Lam Yuk-ting, Principal Assistant Secretary for Transport and Logistics, and also Mr. Richard Chin Hong from Highways Department, Mr. Chen Wai-tai, Highway Engineer, as well as Ms. Eva Lee Ho-man, Chief Landscape Architect of Highways Department. I know that the administration have prepared PPT presentation regarding this agenda. Deputy Secretary, members who would like to speak, please press the wish to speak button. Thank you. Deputy Secretary, thank you, Chair. Well, today we are here with members from Highways Department to speak to you about the enhancement of public road facilities as well as beautification of street landscapes. The Highways Department is responsible for the routine inspection and maintenance of about 2,700 kilometers of public footpaths in order to maintain safety and usability of the public footpath network. In addition to the routine maintenance of roads and structures, the Highways Department is also committed to improving public road facilities to enhance the walking experience of pedestrians, which include some resurfacing of the footpath and also the bench railings installation. Apart from enhancement of public road facilities, the Highways Department is also rolling out a number of measures to beautify the public space and to create a better environment for people to walk in. It includes beautifying the layover, the lifts, lampposts, as well as redesigning and renewing the tiles on the footpath. During the works, we will introduce thematic design and to add special features of that particular district in order to manifest the uniqueness of that district. As we roll out the beautification works, we will invite stakeholders of the district, including the young people, to participate in the designing stage. We hope that we can create a functional and visually attractive district environment so that people will have a stronger sense of belonging to their own district. In order to improve the streetscape and leave a better impression of the tourism, the Highways Department will also change old shrubs and to build some flowers or the vegetations with longer flowering period, and also to renew the street plates of those historic districts. And I would like to defer to Highways Department for a more in-depth presentation. We also welcome your questions. Thank you. Thank you, Chair. We want to introduce to you about our enhancements of public road facilities and the beautification of street landscapes. First, we would like to talk about some larger scale footpath resurfacing works. With urban development and increase in economic activities, the paveway conditions of footpaths are affected to varying degrees, including to the occurrence of localized unevenness. We have been conducting regular inspections and reviewing the pavement conditions of public footpath to examine an arrangement for appropriate resurfacing works, including the slippery proof and the pedestrian flows. According to all these conditions, we would determine our maintenance, and it will be rolled out in an orderly manner. There will be different larger scale footpath resurfacing works in different districts. Among 40 sections of them have already been completed in 2024. May I ask how many slides do you have? It would take about 8 minutes. 8 minutes is a lot. Members have already read the papers, and there are also different images. I would like to invite you to present to us in brief so that there will be more time for questioning. Well noted. These are the works that I completed in 2024. The remaining 40 sections of the resurfacing works will be commenced in 2025, and it will be completed in orderly manner by mid-2026. I would also want to talk about the installation of bench railings for resting. There are 10 desirable locations. We have already installed some bench railings for residents to rest. We have already inserted the Home Affairs. Such works have completed in 2024. We will continue to monitor its usage, and we will also work together with the Home Affairs offices to collect and listen to public views. We will also work with a relevant district office. Next is the beautification work of street landscape. We have selected footbridges and subways in each of the 18 districts, a total of 36 of them, for beautification and refurbishment works. We will consider different themes and colors, including the footbridge, the tunnels, and their location in order to select the design and themes. The first stage of refurbishment and beautification work have completed in 2024. As you can see from the images, we will also start such works in Kwun Tong and Tung Chung district. These are some simulated images. We expect these works to complete in phase by mid-2025. And these beautifications work of streetscape has already been completed in 2023. And in Pier number 2 and 3 and Central Pier, will be completed in 2025. These are some special designs of the manhole cover, and this is the Chinchi Road in Chinsha near Hong Kong Wetland Park. It has already been completed. You can also see the design of the manhole cover. This is the Castle Peak Road in Chun Wan, the Shenzhen section. These are some featured floor plates. In November 2025, there will be also the 15 national games. The Highways Department will be putting in place different design in the vicinity of the venues, including the Velodrome in Cheung Kwan O, Kai Tak Sports Park, etc. There will be some special floor plates. As you can see, this is the Velodrome in Cheung Kwan O as well as the vicinity of the Kai Tak Sports Park. These beautifications work are expected to be completed by Q3 2025. In order to enhance the impression of tourists towards Hong Kong, at the famous tourist spots, we will put in design of different themes so that we will attract the residents and tourists to take photographs in those areas. As you can see, there are different pictures from Mong Kok, Yamate, and Tsim Sha Tsui. These are some reshrubing of North Lantau, and these are the planting of some Bougainvillea, Spigabilis, and Thivacea peruvinia. We are working together with different district offices to organize competitions and workshops. We are inviting young people to participate in our design. This is the Pekoe Street in Sham Shui Po and near in Tai Po district. These are the tunnel works that are completed already. And this is the design competition in 2024 in the North District. It is the Silver Education Festival. We will incorporate all these results in our beautifications work. So these are my presentation regarding this agenda, and we welcome your comments. Thank you. Next are the questions from members. The lineup of members to speak, including Luk Chung Hong, Andrew Lam, Frankie Yik, Michael Chen, Chen Han Pan, Yu Park Lang, and Mr. Yim Kong. 4 minutes question and answers include. First one, Mr. Luk Chung Hong. Thank you, Chair. We welcome the refurbishment and the beautification of all these works, including the drawings. It is actually adding colors to the district. It is very lively, and we can make good use of the creativity of our youth. In Annex 4, well, it is called a bench railing. Some residents reflect to me that the design seems rather petite. Well, I know that if it is too wide, it might cause obstruction to pedestrians. I just want to see if you have consulted the residents. Is there any room for expansion? If it is spacious enough, can you design some traditional benches for them? Well, especially our senior members, sometimes they do need to take rest at your benches. These kind of bench railings don't really allow people to sit comfortably. I can't really say if it is a bench or not. Another issue about the vegetations nearby the railings of the footpath. Well, you know, the concept is very desirable, but it is poorly managed. There's no one to water them, and we are turning them into garbage bins. And even ashtray. How about we just leave them alone altogether, because it is poorly received. Some is being taken care of by the Highways Department and some the district office. I just want to see the plant pots cannot be found here. It is going to be ruled out in the future. If it is still undecided, I want to reflect to you the comments that I've collected. The residents said that it is better that you cancel it altogether. Anyone? Mr. Ng? Thank you, Mr. Lok. Well, let's first talk about the bench railing. It is truly not called benches. The roads in Hong Kong are normally narrow. If we put benches there, then people tend to sit there and cause the footpath even narrower. It is not desirable to the accessibility of our footpath. We are putting these bench railings at the top or the bottom of the staircase so that people who need rest can take a short break there in order to complete the journey. So that is why we have installed such bench railings. We are taking reference from the designs of both mainland and overseas countries. It is truly for people to take a short break. It's not for them to sit there and chit-chat. Therefore, you are right, they are not benches. People might think, if the space allowed, can you install benches instead? We have collected your comments and it will be duly reflected to the Home Affairs Department. Perhaps there can be some gondolas or benches for people to rest.
Regarding the planter pots, because of space constraints, we will be hanging some flower planters on the railings because people want to see a green environment. The district officer will work with us together. The other department will be responsible for managing these flower pots or flower planters. We will relay the concerns to these departments. We will also urge them to conduct more routine inspections. Thank you. Next, Mr. Andrew Lam. Thank you, Chairman. First of all, on railings and traffic signs, the administration already has strategies to remove them. Indeed, I don't understand why some haven't yet been removed. I don't see the reasons why they are still there. The cost of maintenance and repair is high. Therefore, I hope that the administration will move faster. You need to conduct a review. You need to see whether they are necessary in the district. At present, there are many footbridges that are functional. In other words, you decide on the width of the footbridges having regard to the projected footfall in a northern metropolis that will be commissioned in the future. I believe you need to adopt another approach, not just a functional perspective. Let's take a footbridge as an example, or just a podium. Sometimes we see such designs or facilities in Hong Kong. I hope there will be clearer guidelines in the future. Otherwise, without any guidance or instruction from the top level, the departments will take the functional approach. It is not their mistake, but then they lack directions from the higher-ups. For the disabled, especially the visually impaired, in the course of repair and maintenance, I find that there are oftentimes some guide paths. But after improvement works to the path or the footpath, some sections on the guide path may have gone missing. When you discover that in the future, you may repair that and you may add the missing part. But that is not ideal. It's not a problem of whether it's right or wrong. Even with the pavement is already narrow, the pavement isn't accessible for the visually impaired. You need to set the priority straight. You shouldn't just look at the issue from the perspective of streetscape beautification. I hope that there will be clearer guidelines in internal policies so those in the middle won't have to make these decisions. Who will take this question? Ms. Wong or Mr. Ng? Mr. Ng. All right, I thank member for his suggestions. Regarding railings, we'll work hard with the transport department. When it is not necessary, we won't add bench railings. Regarding footbridges, Mr. Andrew Lam's suggestion is indeed very good. Should we call them footbridges? Or should we call them simply podiums? They may be parks connected to a footbridge. We shouldn't build such facilities in a lot of places across Hong Kong owing to the high cost. We'll pay special attention to it. Regarding repair and maintenance to the guide path to the visually impaired, I will remind my colleagues we will pay closer attention to the to the issue. Otherwise, it may become dangerous for the visually impaired. Safety is top of mind for us. With trees, some pavements are narrow, which makes it difficult for the visually impaired to walk on the pavement. Pedestrian safety is the most important. We'll discuss with district officers. Probably the trees are too tall and they have to be replaced with smaller trees. We'll continue to work on these. Thank you. Just now, Mr. Andrew Lam mentioned landscape podium. From a perspective of functionality or accessibility, it should be reflected in the Hong Kong planning standards and guidelines. You project the footfall and design the width on the footbridges or the podium. You will have to consider the connectivity as well as the need for having a podium as well. So you may need to start from the perspective of the overall planning of the administration. Thank you. Next member, Mr. Frankie Yik. Thank you, Chairman. Regarding the beautification works, I support these works. Well, there should be anti-slip devices when it comes to staircases. If there isn't, you need to add these devices, otherwise it may be dangerous for senior citizens. Just now, member mentioned bench railings. You need to explain more to the public. Is indeed a bench railing instead of a bench. I went to the mainland and we discussed it with the administration. There are such bench railings for people to lean against at bus stops. It's been in discussion for a long time, and I'm glad to see bench railings in the community. You need to explain to the public they aren't for people to sit on, they are for people to lean against instead. Just now you mentioned resurfacing works as well. We welcome it. Concrete was used in the past, and you needed certain equipment. There are underground utilities or pipelines. But there are soil erosion, and there may be cave-in for the roads. Some people would rather go out to the road instead of taking the pavement because roads would definitely be even, whereas pavements may be uneven. It's difficult to keep conducting pavement improvement works. What I believe is impossible to eradicate this problem, but soil erosion will cause cave-ins of some pavements. So how are you going to address this situation? Ms. Wong? Thank you. Just now, Assistant or Deputy Commissioner already explained the purpose of bench railings. District officers in different areas are collecting feedback from residents. We will see how to make it more convenient for residents. We have heard members' views and will incorporate your views in our future programs. While I support your existing design, we just want better communication, but don't make these bench railings wider. Don't make them larger. They are simply for people to lean against to take a short break. Just now, Mr. Frankiek also mentioned bench railings at bus stops. They can be for residents waiting for buses to lean against for a short time. Regarding bus stops, we have a program. Yes, indeed, I saw some bench railings at some bus stops. Wherever we can install such bench railings, we'll do so. And it will be in touch with the district office, or you can draw reference from Ferry Pier in Central and in Tsim Sha Tsui. Those designs are even lighter than your existing designs. Regarding soil erosion, I'll give the floor to Mr. Richard Ng. Just now, member asked why tiles were used instead. There are a few reasons for uneven pavements. First of all, there are underground pipelines under the tiles. After maintenance, the tiles have to be laid once again. And these works sometimes lead to uneven pavements. We've been in touch with companies of underground pipelines or utilities. We'll carry out more routine inspections. When inspecting the works, we will require them to touch up the pavements when we find them unacceptable. On pavements, well, some vehicles actually mount the curb and use some parts of the pavements. For such heavy vehicles, they cause damage to the pavements. Therefore, some pavements are made uneven. If such situations happen frequently, we'll have to discuss with the transport department. We may consider adding devices to prevent vehicles from mounting a curb. The other situation is near wet markets or near some shops. They clean the area of their stores quite frequently. They pour water beneath the tiles. There's a layer of sand. When a lot of water is washed away, the sand will go away. Then the pavements will become uneven. When we identify such acts, we definitely remind these stores not to do so, not to pour a lot of water. Or alternatively, we will add certain materials to make the tiles sturdier. And these are the directions we'll work on. We will increase the frequency of inspections. For pavements in general, we carry out monthly inspections. For busier pavements, we carry out weekly inspections. Whenever we identify any uneven pavement, we will carry out works. Thank you. Mr. Michael Tin. Thank you. We are discussing the beautification works of pavements. Flowers will be planted next to the main roads. From 2019, I've been mentioning uneven thoroughfares. Some are indeed damaged, just like turbulence in the air. Changkwano, Kam Sheung Road. These are some of the examples. well, you can actually see the conditions of these pavements. When the pavements are in such a condition and you're still going to plant some flowers, it's quite ridiculous. Asphalt roads are more durable, but then they are hard, they may be uneven. It takes a number of days before a road can be opened once again. For asphalt roads, they are more comfortable, but the problem is that they aren't as durable. Traffic is allowed just a few hours after the works. This is ideal. So I think most of the roads should be replaced with asphalt roads. For asphalt, there's a new generation of materials. Some concrete. New generation of concrete are similar to the asphalt. I've learned it from the mainland. Is there any new miraculous cement, so to speak?
Regarding Longcheng Road, well, at the moment it is a cement surface. It has been there for years. Since it has been in use for many years, so certainly there will be some crackages. It is a very busy road. As mentioned by Mr. Tian, it might take 2 to 3 days for us to block the road so that the cement will dry totally. Therefore, all that we can do are some only temporary repairment. Therefore, the road conditions is far from ideal. We do have plans in place. We are hoping to have some major maintenance works on this road. In the past, it is quite difficult for us to block the road totally. We are now looking into the possibility of some reroute of traffic if the Central Road in Kowloon is opened. Maybe some traffic from Longcheng Road can be redirected so that there will be space for us to change from cement to asphalt, and it will be better for us to have maintenance work, and it will be more comfortable for the drivers in the future. This is our future direction, but we really need to monitor the traffic conditions. For us to change from cement to asphalt, it will be some major maintenance works, and I hope that when we have to do that, there will be some longer period of road blockage. Hope that it will be allowed so that we can conduct some major and large-scale resurfacing. It will be better for everybody in the future. We are hoping to redirect the traffic from Central Kowloon Route. That would be our possibility. Nick. The Canyon Road footbridge. Well, we can not change its structure, and we cannot add asphalt there because it will overload the flyover. If we are determined to do that, we have to restructure the whole flyover, and it might not be worthy. So we are keeping it as a cement surface. As mentioned by Mr. Tian, we are making use of some new model cement. It is called some fiber cement. It is much tougher than the traditional one. It also dries up faster, so that the road can be reopened to the road users sooner. It helps shorten our maintenance period. We are testing to see if these kind of materials are feasible in Hong Kong. If it can be used, then it can solve the issues of Yuen Long Main Road and Kam Sheung Road. We are having cement surface in Yuen Long Main Road as well. If that new materials is workable in Hong Kong, it will help us improve the conditions of Yuen Long Main Road as well. Well, there are certain roads that have partially surfaced by cement road because nearby there are a lot of truck depots and also some logistics centers. So if there are a lot of heavy-weighted trucks going in and out, there will be crackage on the road very easily if we use an asphalt surface. But cement surface is rather easy to be uneven, and if you have to repair it, you have to block the road. So we cannot conduct any large-scale repairment for cement surface. Well, if there is relocation of certain truck depot, then it will be an opportunity for us to replace it with asphalt surface. We will continue to monitor the situation and wait for opportunity. Likewise, in Chang Kwan O, well, in the past, there are still a lot. Well, in Wanpo Road, in Zone 137, there are still a lot of heavy vehicles going in and out those areas. So it will be even more difficult for us to conduct maintenance works. The Highways Department has also developed a new asphalt materials that is tougher. It is called HSMNA. It is a new form of asphalt material which is much tougher. And it also carries the cohesiveness of asphalt. We are starting to deploy these kind of new materials. I hope that it will improve the situations in Wanpo Road in the future. Next, Mr. Chen Hanpan. Thank you, Chair. Well, I really appreciate the repaving of floor tile, especially in Shemchang. We can see the repaving. It looks very beautiful, and we appreciate the effort of the Highways Department. We also see the new designs of the manhole cover. It has injected liveliness in the district, in the old district. I hope that it can be further developed. It is very popular in overseas countries. For certain manhole cover designs, they are actually turning it into some tourism merchandise. I hope that the Highways Department can collaborate more with the local districts. Today, I want to focus on the uneven surface of our roads. This is something that concerns me. Recently, I drove for hundreds of kilometers on highway in mainland China. The quality of the asphalt is very high. It is smooth and very even. I don't really observe any crackage. The maintenance is very desirable, but as I come back to Hong Kong, the surface of asphalt is changing color. It started to be black and then it is turning into stone color. And then I will see a lot of uneven surface after a while. Is there any issues with the use of asphalt? On express highway, in a particular section, let's say for 2 kilometers, there are some asphalt surface. Maybe the next lane is not repaved yet, so the whole road looks like patches of an old piece of clothing. I try to understand the situation, and now I learned that it concerns the blocking of roads because we can't block the whole section of the road all the time. Can we discuss with the authorities, maybe during the non-peak days, during the holidays, can we allow them to have longer period of road blockage? As long as the traffic is not impacted, can we allow for that? Provide convenience for road maintenance. Otherwise, our highways will look very patchy. I also want to talk about the shrubs nearby the highway. They are rarely managed. Sometimes there are a lot of weeds in between the roads. Even when there are people to manage them, it is not frequent enough. I wonder, is it the same issue back again? Is it because we can't block the road for too long, therefore these plantation is poorly managed? If we just plant the shrubs there without managing them, or it takes us long period of application in order to seek approval for maintenance, it will be quite troublesome. Can the Highways Department look into it? Can we strengthen our maintenance capability? Can we allow for some more appropriate maintenance hours so that these kind of management works can be more frequent? Let's say we are doing it twice a year. Can we make it more frequent, like 4 times a year? At least it will look more tidy. Well, this time we are talking about the pedestrians facilities. It seems that members are very concerned about the maintenance and beautifications of highways. Can the Deputy Secretary reply to it in brief? As mentioned by the chairman, today we are mainly focusing on the footpath. Regarding the maintenance of highways, we will come back to this panel again for another presentation. We will talk about our deployment of technologies as well as other new measures. Comments from Mr. Chen is well taken. If we are able to do it in larger scale, it will be beneficial to both the department and the road users. Yet we need to strike a balance. As mentioned, during long weekends, perhaps we will have longer hours to maintain the road. We will look into this together with TD and the Highways Department. Anything you would like to add, Mr. Ng? After the 1st of April, starting from April, we will deploy a new asphalt materials, and it is very close to the new materials in mainland China. It is more durable. It is called HSMSN. We hope that it can improve our road conditions. As mentioned by Ms. Wong, in the future, we will give you a more detailed report regarding our maintenance of the highways in the future. I note that this meeting originally ends by 12:45, and there are still 3 members waiting to speak. I would like to suggest to extend our meeting for 15 minutes till our discussion finished. Next, Mr. Yu Pak-lun. Thank you, Chairman. I can see the efforts of the Highways Department regarding the enhancements and beautification of footpath. I can also see some very beautiful new floor tiles. I have served the district for many years. Sometimes when they repave the floor tiles, as explained by the administration, after a heavy rainfall, sometimes it will become uneven. So we do need some long-term maintenance. You said that your indicator is to maintain it every month. I hope that you can really fulfill your promise. Let's say in Central, in Corner Road Central, for that particular section, there are many floor tiles that are uneven. This is just an example. What I want to say that we need to take care of the maintenance, as well as the anti-slip surface of the footpath, especially on the slope. If it is frequently used, then the anti-slip surface may not be functioning well, especially with soil erosion. It is very easy for people to stumble over. I also concerned what Mr. Chen Hanpan has mentioned. The beautifications on express highways and even the plantation next to the highways. These are some critical elements to the impression of our city. I'm not talking about beautiful or not, I'm just talking about tidiness. When I drive in mainland China, I always pay attention to the greening of the roadside. I'm not trying to go after I'm not trying to ask for a beautiful roadside. I am just asking for tidiness. I discovered that there has been some management recently nearby the port of call in Shenzhen Bay. Well, right after you enter into the Hong Kong area, there are a lot of weeds everywhere. So how frequent do you manage the greening on roadside level? Can we improve our monitoring? Well, you said that you are going to plant more you said that you have planned for more planting in the North Lantau Highway so that the tourists can enjoy a more beautiful landscape. This is something that we welcome. How about other districts? There are some well, we do see a lot of weeds in the middle of the roads. Rather, there is no greening at all if you are not going to manage it properly. Can you design it better so that it will be easier for us to conduct maintenance? Regular maintenance is important, otherwise I would just opt out. I wonder if there's any thoughts from the administration in order to improve the level of beautiness of the roadside.
DS. Thank you. I agree with Mr. Perry Yu. Road conditions and cleanliness are very important, both to locals and visitors. Regarding planters, I'd like to give the floor to the Assistant to the Deputy Commissioner. Thank you. We carry out inspections once every 3 months for roadside trees. I understand some areas are overgrown, especially after rain. Grass is grown quite fast. We're trying some better methods. It's not suitable to use materials that are highly toxic. Adding, say, vinegar or acid materials, the potency isn't strong enough. We are sourcing better materials. We need to cut the grass more frequently. Say after rain, we will carry out these exercises more frequently. We may not we may not plant these trees if maintenance is quite complicated, and we will consider these factors, and we will also consider better species of trees. In North Lantau, we plant this particular type of flower. It doesn't need a lot of water to grow well. So we've been making improvements to the planting of trees in order to improve road conditions as well as the visual effect. We want to enhance visitor experience. Well, I hope the contractor will clear the garbage as well. After carrying out the exercise, the contractor should clear the garbage altogether. Next member, Mr. Yim Kong. We're talking about beautification works. I believe members of the public are glad to hear these works. But we need to take into account the cost as well. The government is working very hard to achieve a fiscal balance. The government needs to cut costs. So how can we further cut costs? We shouldn't consider these expenses recurrent expenditure. So I'd like to ask the administration Will you carry out a review of the situation? Say in Annex 2, for the new pavement, if a pavement is even, it is still usable. For those that are not even, we simply need to repair them. Do we need to replace the entire section of the pavement? If it is a very famous or a popular tourist attraction, I support it. Otherwise, is it still necessary? The government needs to reduce costs. So regarding beautification works or landscape works, is it possible to reduce, say, 20% to 30% of the beautification of street landscapes? DS about cost control. Thank you, Mr. Yim, for his concerns over the fiscal deficit of the government. When the Highways Department is carrying out the street landscape beautification works, the expenses are actually covered under existing heads of expenditure. It is not additional expenses. From time to time, we need to carry out repair and maintenance works. So we take these opportunities to carry out beautification works. For resurfacing works of roads, we choose pavements with a higher footfall, or we choose locations with more visitors. We give priority to roads on which the conditions are not ideal. We don't do so just for the sake of beautification, so there's no additional expenses, so to speak. Regular repair and maintenance expenditure already covers the cost of beautification of street landscapes. But above all, we need to ensure pedestrian safety. On this basis, then, we improve the road conditions and give visitors as well as pedestrians a better experience. Well, DS, the administration explained this is recurrent expenditure. Well, I mean, we need to change this mindset. Is it possible to reduce a certain portion of the expenditure this year comparing with last year? Is it still possible to further reduce the costs while at the same time keeping the current level of repair and maintenance of the roads? Well, road maintenance is indeed a very important task. We are already using a targeted approach. We carry out works only when necessary. Whether we can further reduce the costs, we leverage technologies and streamline the procedures. That's exactly how we reduce costs. So is there any target for you? Any KPI comparing with last year? Well, I believe all departments in the government need to cut costs. The Highways Department is no exception. Thank you. Next, Dr. Lawai Kwok. Thank you, Chairman. I have 3 questions. 1. Road conditions in Hong Kong somehow are much worse than those in the mainland. I'm a driver driving between Hong Kong and the mainland. I've been a driver for over 2 decades driving between Hong Kong and the mainland. Some roads are uneven. Some roads were uneven in the mainland, whereas they were even in Hong Kong, but then the situation has changed. Apart from the materials used, technologies adopted, as well as maintenance arrangements, say you work on smaller sections, and then when you connect the smaller portions, then the roads will become uneven, and you really need to improve the situation. Regarding greening, we welcome greening. But then there are two situations. For taller trees, on the one hand, the species of trees grow fast, but then they are subject to typhoon. They are vulnerable to the impact of typhoon. These taller trees also obstruct the vision of drivers. They cannot see the traffic signs. There are a lot of examples, and you need to improve the situation. For bushes that are tall, the quality of planting pales by comparison with the cities in the mainland. These spots, more often than not, have become litter bins. When you drive past shorter bushes, you oftentimes see cans, bottles, and so on. You can see all sorts of garbage in these spots. Greening, planting, cleaning. Which department is responsible for them? Is far from satisfactory. Some goods oftentimes drop out from goods vehicles on the road. For lighter goods or garbage, we oftentimes see them in the roads. So why don't we keep these goods securely fastened inside a dip of goods vehicles? Comparing with the mainland, they've made a lot of improvements indeed. When we come across this situation, in the past we were not satisfied, but then in the mainland there has been better control. Well, in most cases, goods vehicles aren't allowed to be on the roads with their dips open. Otherwise, that will cause danger on the roads. This is life-threatening, potentially. We do need to improve the situation. Thank you. Dr. Low mentioned quite some questions and some situations, some have to do with road conditions. And I believe road maintenance issues will be discussed at the panel meetings later on, but the DS can reply in brief. Some issues are in relation to safety, and this is close to our heart. I'd like to give the floor to the DS. Thank you. Regarding the quality of roads, just now Deputy Director already explained. We have regular inspections, and when we find that some trees need to be trimmed, we'll do so more frequently. Regarding goods vehicles, say how to make sure the garbage isn't dropped easily from goods vehicles. I don't have information at hand. I'll go back and collect information. Next time I come to the panel to discuss these issues, I'll come with information. Well, in enforcement actions, publicity, road safety education, they should be taken forward at the same time, so you may give us a response next time when you come back to the panel. Thank you, Chairman. Well, I agree for the goods and rubbish when they drop from the goods vehicles onto the roads. It's not just within the purview of the Highways Department. The Transport Department, the police force, they should also be involved. We need to face this problem squarely. There were fatal accidents in the past. When something is dropped from the vehicle, the vehicles at the back plow into the vehicles in the front. We need to improve the situation. I take this opportunity to raise this question, despite the fact that it may not be directly related to this discussion item, when these are issues close to the heart of motorists on the road. Thank you. We have finished discussing the enhancement of public road facilities and beautification of street landscapes. I thank the administration, DS Deputy Director, and their team for coming to the panel meeting today. Next, agenda item number 6. Any other business? There being no other business, meeting adjourned. Thank you, members.